Since the beginning of 2025, we have been putting out these videos every 2 weeks, showing you how we stay in our grocery budget of $135 per person, and we are a family of 2. So our grocery budget is $270 per month. And these videos are to show you how busy and chaotic our lives are and how we are able to stick to that budget without having to cook dinner every single night. If you're just meeting me, my name is Amy Cross and this is the Cross Legacy, where I teach you how to save money on groceries. And one of those ways is being truly transparent and honest with all of our grocery shopping hauls and what we're making for meals for our family. I am the author of the Zero Waste Produce Guide, and I also had a TED Talk teaching produce tips and how to get them to last for weeks. So we always have the ingredients in our house that we need to make many different kinds of meals. So over the years, I have developed tricks to be able to keep all of my produce items fresh for at least 3 weeks. So I'm able to spread out my grocery shopping trips every 3 to 4 weeks. Sometimes I'm able to push it out that whole month until I need to go to the store again and still have everything that I need here. So when we're starting this video, it's starting on April 21st and it has been exactly 3 weeks since I've been to the grocery store. This is Meals 9, the 9th video in this series. We have all the other videos that are listed in the description if you would like to go back to January and see all the different meals that we've been making and how they kind of overlap between meal prepping and freezer meals. But currently it's just my husband and I here at the house, but we do have grown children that were home for spring break for part of this video, so you can see how we kind of change things around for our kids to be home. To start off this video, the very first meal that we made was some barbecued ribs and some baked beans. Those ribs I pulled out of the freezer and I actually cooked them in the Instapot because it was raining, but I was really excited to get into some summer, spring vibes of having some nice weather and being able to switch up our meals. If you're wanting to learn how to make your ribs in the Instapot and then just broil them in the oven, we have a recipe for that that is on our blog. And then if you've been following our pantry videos, I've been trying to eat up some baked beans that I had canned. So I let those simmer and added a little bit extra molasses to them to sweeten them up just a little tiny bit. And we had those baked beans, which is the last of the baked beans I've been trying to use up in the pantry. And we had some fresh kiwi with it. Again, I haven't been to the grocery store in 3 weeks. For this next meal, I was using some shredded beef that I had in the freezer left over from a roast, and I was able to start this off kind of like I would make a beef pot pie or like a chicken pot pie, but I actually made little hand pies that you can hold in your hand, which is perfect if you're feeding littles or on the go, want to make something that you can take with you, especially when the seasons are changing and you're on the go. If you need a dinner to take with you, making these hand pies is really easy, and you can even freeze them before you bake them or after you bake them so you can batch cook them ahead of time. I was able to make 18 of these hand pies. We ate a couple of them for dinner and the rest went into the freezer. On this night, I made a chicken broccoli bake with some wild rice. Again, I'm trying to use up things that we have in the pantry, so I used the wild rice with this. I even cooked up a little bit of extra of the rice and was able to put that into portions to put into the freezer for later. And this broccoli bake will freeze really nicely. So we had it for dinner, and then I was able to portion it out to make some other meals for our family so they can reheat it on a busy day. And instead of adding a can of cream of something kind of soup that has over 10 different ingredients in it, I just added a little bit of cream cheese, and that helped thicken up the sauce when I was making it. So normally I have ingredients in our house like cream cheese, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese that I'm able to quickly add to something to thicken it up and make it seem like that cream of something soup without all the extra additives in a can of something that would flare up my allergies. So if you've been following along, you know that we are in the process of looking for a house and wanting to move. So I had to make another trip over the mountains to look at a possible house that we're kind of hopeful about, and we will see what happens. While I was gone, just for 24 hours, our deck was being rebuilt, and now we have a view of the mountain again. When we moved into this house 22 years ago, we could see more of the mountain, but the trees have grown over the years, but we can still see the very top, which is very special to me. So with all of these trips that we've been doing over the mountains, and it's a 4-hour drive each way, and all of the stress of trying to find the right house and getting our remodel done and all of the things that are happening. Plus, you never know if I actually had a bug or if I'm just 49 or what was going on. But I actually got the wind knocked out of my sails for a couple days, and I had flu-like symptoms. I was very careful because I have reflective sympathetic dystrophy and I didn't want a major flare-up. I haven't even actually said it out loud to anybody other than our family, but I had ended up in the hospital in November for a couple days because of a flare-up. So I wanted to make sure that I was resting as much as I could and got this under control quickly. So for about 3 days, we didn't film, we didn't do anything, but we are going to film a video about some of the things that I keep on hand to make sure that we have what we need if somebody does have flu-like symptoms. So getting right back to it, when I was eating again, the first thing that we went to have was some artichokes that I was craving. We purposely didn't eat those for over a month because I wanted to take some month-old pictures of the artichokes in my refrigerator, but they were actually 6 weeks old and still completely fresh when I cooked them. We had the artichokes with some steaks with some chimichurri sauce, and I had made that using fresh herbs that again were over 3 weeks old. We have a video for keeping herbs fresh if you want to know how to keep your parsley or cilantro fresh for at least 6 weeks. Over the years, I have tucked herbs into my flower beds around our house, and one of them is this rosemary plant that started about 3 inches tall a long time ago, and now it is huge. I try to keep it about 3 feet tall, but it grows so much every year. And I wanted to make sure when we moved, we were able to take some of that with us. So I was able to, since it was springtime, take some clippings of that rosemary, and I just put them in with this basil plant that I keep in my window here. This will actually start rooting, and then I'll put them in separate pots. But it's kind of fun to be able to take one of the herbs that I have been growing in my yard for 15 or so years and take it to our new house someday. And this is just kind of fun, but Ryan, he lives across the street. He is like a dad to me, and he makes these oatmeal raisin cookies for me occasionally. I try to get him to only give me a couple at a time when he makes them, so I don't eat them all. But we were finally talking about, is he going to give me his secret recipe? And I have a secret recipe that he has been asking for, and finally he agreed to give me his secret recipe. He told me it was on the lid of the oatmeal container, which is also kind of funny because we normally get oatmeal in 50-pound bags and not in the containers. So then he gave me a lid to his Quaker oats. But I just thought it was funny that we have, you know, secret family recipes that are actually like the commercial one that the company puts out. And this is just a picture of the egg bake that I actually had for like brunch because I am not a morning person and really just want to drink coffee first thing in the morning. I do make sure that I add protein to my coffee, so I'm at least getting a little bit of protein, but I normally don't eat until an hour or two after I wake up. I know it's a bad habit. Hashtag not a morning person, never will be a morning person. I do make sure that I pre-make a ton of breakfast options that I have in the freezer, so I was able to just reheat this really quickly to have a late breakfast. And I shared with how I made this egg bake back on the Meals 7 video if you're looking for the recipe for that. And this was just a meat sauce that was loaded with veggies, and it was a tortellini bake that I pulled out of the freezer. So again, we are working crazy hours trying to get this remodel done and starting to pack some of the things to stage our house. And some of those days mean that we're just pulling meals out of the freezer and also trying to use up some of those meals that are in the freezer so we don't have to move as much stuff since we're going to be moving so far away. So on this day was actually the May grocery haul. That has already been posted on YouTube by the time that this video comes out. These videos come out about 2 to 3 weeks after that 2-week dinner cycle, so it takes a little while for things to catch up, but we try to put the grocery haul videos up right away within a couple days. So after the grocery haul, I had went to the farmer's market and Costco, and then I came home and washed the items. We did have a rotisserie chicken, and then I had pulled out a farro grain bowl that also had some spinach and some butternut squash in it. So we had a really balanced meal on a long day. One of the things that Mike had put on my grocery list that I actually didn't buy for him was he wanted some Catalina dressing. And I was able to find a recipe to make Catalina dressing using the ingredients that I had in the house, again with no additives and no seed oils in it that would cause my RSD to flare up. So we are an allergy household, and I have to really watch all of the ingredients that we bring into the house. And it's so easy to make things like salad dressings. This one doesn't have any eggs or dairy in it. It will actually stay fresh in your refrigerator for about 3 months. We use the Catalina dressing to make taco salads. The chips for the taco salads was from 2 grocery cycles ago, and I store those in a glass jar in our pantry, and they stay fresh for about 2 months. And then I also had taco meat in the freezer, so I was able to make taco salads really quickly. Shredded cheese is also something that I normally do at one time and shred up a lot of it, and then I will fill up like a quart-sized jar with a metal lid that will last 2 to 3 times longer than if you left it in a different sort of container. So shredded cheese will normally last about 2 to 3 months. We normally use it before that time, but you don't have to worry about it going bad. I was trying a new recipe, but first I needed to have some tahini for this, and I just make it myself from scratch. All you have to do is have some sesame seeds on hand, and you just toast those up and then put them in a blender. It is super easy. You can add a little bit of oil to it and a little bit of salt. It will make it that perfect commercial type texture for it that you would normally get at the grocery store. But this way you can have sesame seeds on hand all the time, and you don't have to worry about the tahini sauce going bad. And again, you don't know what kind of oils they put in it, so if you're trying to be careful on having high quality oils in your diet and not seed oils, then you can make sure that you make it yourself from scratch. Super easy. It takes less than 5 minutes. I used some eggplants that I got at the farmer's market, and then also that tahini sauce with some garlic cloves and parsley, and I made some babaganoush, which is a dip that you can use like hummus. So we ate that with a bunch of veggies, and Mike also grilled steaks. So these steaks are kind of funny. They are the last of our 2023 meat order that we are trying to use up before we touch anything in the new order, which we're planning on doing a video for as soon as the garage gets cleaned out. Honestly, there are so many boxes and things going on in there. I can't even get to the freezer that we put the meat order in there, but we are planning on filming that video for you so you can see how we buy meat every 2 to 2.5 years and have all the meat that we need. So anyways, we were using up the last of those steaks in there. We still have a couple more, and it's just interesting that in our family we seem to use up the hamburger and the roasts first, and the steaks are one of the last things that we normally have. So this was a super busy day. We have been going non-stop all day, and then we had a delivery for furniture that we were giving to somebody else, and since it was a single mom, we made sure that we were the ones that delivered it so she didn't have to worry about trying to find somebody with a truck. And then we ended up staying there and talking for over an hour, and it was 8 o'clock when we left our house and started coming home, and past about 15 drive-throughs, it felt like, to come home, and we hadn't ate dinner yet, and I was like, nope, we got this. So within 15 minutes of walking in the door, we had dinner. I had chopped up some of that leftover steak. We had already chopped peppers and onions. I made fajitas within a few minutes and just warmed up some black beans to have with it. And that is where we're going to wrap up this video. So if you're curious on any of the different recipes, make sure to let us know. If we don't already have a video or a blog post for them, then we can start putting those on a content list to make more videos for you. On these meals videos, we also have an extra discount code that's linked in the description if you're interested in getting the Zero Waste Produce Guide to help you save money on groceries, and also the meal planner. So we have 5 different covers of the grocery planner, so you can pick the one that matches your personality the best, and these can be started at any time. They are 6-month planners to help you keep track of the meals that you are eating and your grocery shopping trips to keep track of your budget. I am currently using the produce box one. The last one I had was the strawberries, and I can't wait to pick another one in 2 more months when I need another planner. Those are linked in the description, and there's also the discount code, so make sure that you're checking that out. The entire list of this playlist is also in the description, and make sure you're asking questions or have comments on the video. We are happy to answer all of them. I make sure that I'm checking in multiple times a day to make sure that all of the questions and comments are getting answered, or we're sending correct links to you. So I hope you enjoy these videos. We plan on continuing to do these through the coming months, even if we are moving and there is chaos. They just might look a little bit different.